Let me start by asking you about the semiconductor situation, because you say in your outlook today, unless the supply of semiconductors improves, we expect flat sales and revenue growth despite strong demand. Give us some sense, for those outside this industry, relative to history, relative to other disruptions, just how disruptive this shortage of semiconductors is proving to be.
No, it's what you could say, really annoying, because we have a lot of customers wanting to buy our cars, and we would like to build more and sell more. So as you said there, we don't see really that that's going to improve. So we basically realistically will see that we will probably build as many cars as we did last year in the second half year. So, on the other hand, that would still leave us with a growth for the whole year, as the first half year was very successful. So, I mean, despite the shortage, we managed to build 41% more cars in the first half year than last year. So, I mean, I wouldn't call it a catastrophe, but it's really, we would like to build more cars. And let's see how it continues. Very difficult to forecast. I just guess it will be more or less as it has been in the last 6 months.
As you say, Hakan, despite the semiconductor issues on supply there, it was a good earnings season. Bloomberg has reported that your parent Geely is considering an IPO valuation of about $20 billion. Is that, roughly the right ballpark, or is that nowhere close to the mark?
No, I heard so much speculations about valuations. I think I should not have an opinion on that. I mean, we're now looking into a potential IPO here, a listing in Stockholm later during this year, and then we are going to come back to our board with a result from the evaluation, and then it's up for our owner to decide, and then I think it's up for the market to have an opinion on the valuation.
OK, so that will decide whether it goes ahead, I suppose. You must be getting soundings from prospective investors, Hakan. What are they talking to you about? What level of enthusiasm? What are their concerns?
I hear not just from investors, that's a very positive response to our transformation strategy, that we're going to make the company really an electric company and making business out of sustainability. That's something investors really see positive, and I think there we are doing something which not just consumers and employees like us doing, but also potential investors.
Bloomberg has also reported that Polestar, your kind of joint venture between the EV maker, between Geely and yourself, is in talks to go public through a SPAC, which is going to value the combined company at $25 billion. What does that say, that this company that's smaller, but yet it's EV focused, is potentially going to be listed and valued at more than Volvo itself? What does that say for kind of your EV ambitions?
I think it shows not just Polestar, but I mean a lot of EV companies, startups have a very high valuation. And I think that once more shows the great interest from investors to invest into electrification and invest into sustainability. So, but of course, Polestar is a very attractive company also in that respect. And of course, very important partner also to us, as we are the biggest shareholder in the company.
Does that enthusiasm for them, Hakan, make you want to push more quickly towards full electrification? Are you concerned that maybe mixed models, even old auto models, are not going to be as well valued by investors?
I think we see a quick demand, and of course also now we have movements on legislation sides, which I think is positive. To have clear targets for us in the industry to electrify faster, and that is positive, and we also need massive investments in infrastructure, charging infrastructure, and I think from that respect also is good with clear targets from authorities.
For a macro person like myself, the big issue from this earnings season, the big message we're taking away is the supply chain issues, which you've talked about on the semiconductor side, but also then the cost price pressures. And I'm curious what you're seeing specifically on the wage pressures in terms of labor supply issues and also in terms of what you're having to do on the compensation front to compete.
We see a cost pressure, I would say, mostly on raw material and material cost. I mean, that's putting pressure on our margins for sure. On the labor side, I think the situation is more normal because we are globally now present with production in Europe, US, and China. But raw material, and of course, and the semiconductors, that's really the bottlenecks and also what's putting pressure on our profitability margins.
And do you have the pricing power to pass those on, Hakan?
Yeah, of course, in a situation where we could sell more cars, that's not the situation where you increase your discounts. I mean, so of course, we are working on the pricing side to improve pricing, and I think that you can also see in our result. The first 6 months, we had over 9% profitability, so it's a very good number. And that, of course, has been achieved also using pricing.